Well, hello there, everybody. Skythe here. And now, 2012 is coming to an end, obviously. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little top, whatever games. Top 5. It's only 5 because, top 5 games of 2012. Now, it's only 5 because obviously I didn't play every single game that came out this year. And I decided to just keep it to PC games only, because PC is kind of my main platform that I play games on. Like, I have a PS3 too, but I just kind of get certain things on it. But I did want to mention one game because of that, and that's Journey. Journey has an honorable mention here. If you haven't played Journey and you have a PS3, you are insane because that game's awesome. But this is my top 5 of 2012. Now, real quick before I go into the actual top 5, this is just my opinion on what I thought the top 5 games are. These are just the games I had the most fun playing the entire year. They were my favorites. Each of these games, when I played them, I thought this game had a little something special to it that made me think like, oh, maybe this so-and-so game was kind of fun, but these were real good. And yeah, let's start the list. Let's kick this thing off before I embarrass myself any further, which I have a tendency to do. Number 5. We're doing this in reverse order, by the way. Number 5. Mass Effect 3. But just the multiplayer. But don't get me wrong, it's not that I didn't like the single player. It was okay. It was a good enough action game, a nice third-person shooter, but with the exception of maybe the first third of the game and a few specific moments throughout, the single player was a little bit disappointing. I went through it like once, and that was about it. I never really felt the need to go back and play it again, which is a shame, because the other ones were so good in the single player department. But the multiplayer, however, I've been playing just about every day since the demo came out on February 14th, which is insane. Now, if you were to ask me before Mass Effect 3 came out what I thought of the multiplayer, I would have said, it's going to suck. It is going to suck horribly, and it's just going to be some tacked-on, money-grubbing thing, and blah, 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 and I would have just directed it all to hell, but then I got my hands on it, and I actually played it, and it's kind of freaking fun. I enjoyed immensely. I think there are a few reasons why. I mean, first and most obvious is because it's Mass Effect. And I know that sounds a little bit like a cop-out, but hear me out. The reason Mass Effect is so enjoyable is like 90% is just because of the universe it's set in. I actually sat down in the first game and the second game and like read codex entries and stuff about all the lore and the races and how spaceflight in that game is like, all that stuff is so interesting. And the multiplayer gives you a chance to experience it in a way that you don't really get to in the single player. In the single player, you're locked into playing Shepard and Shepard's story only. In the multiplayer, I could be, a crazy Vorcha who sets people on fire, and you get to fight on these planets you've heard about, but you only visit for like one little thing. I mean, okay, so it's like a little multiplayer match on the planet, but still, it's the setting and the universe of Mass Effect are the biggest draw that keeps me coming back to this series, even when I'm like, seeing what happens to it when certain companies get a hold of it. But just that, having that background and, being able to be a Krogan and headbutt things is kind of great. You don't get that in the single player, the closest thing you get is Rex, which, don't get me wrong, Rex is pretty awesome, but you don't get to be Rex. In the multiplayer, you can at least pretend to be. Another reason is all the updates they've been providing for it. There have been like, what, four or something? Oh great, now it shows that I didn't actually do my research. Like, there have been a few DLCs, added for free that add additional characters, weapons, maps. They keep it updated, they keep it fresh, and it's all free. Maybe it's free because they expect you to buy the packs, which you have to pay for, which is a little, but still, it's all that updating. They keep doing it. They keep adding to the game. It keeps it fresh. I've been playing since February, and every time I sit down and I think, I'm getting a little bit bored of this game. They release something new. And for the third and final, that leads us into the third and final reason. Maybe it's the final reason. I could go on for hours talking about this game, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit brief. The weekly balance changes. Now, this is something that I don't know if I haven't played any games lately that have even done anything like this at all. Like, I think the last game that I played that had a system like this in any way was Left 4 Dead 2 had mutations for a little while, but I didn't play that long enough to know how long they actually went on with that. But these weekly changes, every week, every Tuesday, maybe Wednesday if they delay them, they go through and they tweak weapons, they tweak powers, they tweak enemies a little bit, and even the smallest little changes might shift the entire balance of the game just a little bit. I mean, you know, one week, this weapon with this mod on this character is super overpowered and super powerful, and then the next week, it may completely suck. Now, I don't like nerfs. I hate nerfs as much as the next guy, but you have to admit, these weekly changes keep the game fresh in a way that if it had just been stale and they had left it as it was released, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as interesting as it would be. I wouldn't still be playing it if we had the same, like, what, 6 characters for each 6 classes and the same original 6 maps. No, that would have been boring as shit. So, you know, I'm kind of interested to see now that that studio, the ones that have been handling the multiplayer, actually got a hold of the next Mass Effect game. I'm really interested to actually see where they take it. But yes, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer gets number 5 on the list because I've been playing the hell out of that game, and it's pretty much been my multiplayer game, go-to game for the year. Now, it's not to say it isn't without its problems. It's peer-to-peer, so there's lag problems. If your internet connection isn't as fantastic as it possibly could be, then you'll run into some laggy games. And I mean some laggy games. You'll end up rubber banding everywhere or teleporting. It can get a little ridiculous. There's some bugs that have been around since I've been playing in the demo, which was before release, that haven't been fixed. Shockwave, I'm looking at you. Shockwave's not worked properly on PC since the game came out. I mean, there's all sorts of little bugs and issues with it, and a lot of them have yet to be fixed, so, you know, there's that little smudge on the resume. But overall, just because of the way they've been supporting it, and because it's the Mass Effect universe that I love so much, it's kind of been a standout game for me this year. So Mass Effect 3, congratulations. You are my number 5 game, like that means anything. Some random dude on YouTube liked you. Awesome. Number 4, Mark of the Ninja. Now, when I first saw this game, just right away from the art style, I knew it was something I was going to be interested in. The art style is the same. It's the same developer who did Shank. That I couldn't remember. This is a professional video, folks. The same developers who did Shank, Clay Studios, and just from the art style, I knew it was going to be something I was going to be interested in. And then I learned that it was being released Xbox Live Arcade only. You know, one of those stupid things where it's only on one, you know, it's exclusive. I was so disappointed. I was so looking forward to it. And then I heard, you know, it wasn't selling too great on Xbox, and I was like, no, crazy people! Stealth games are amazing! Why won't you buy them? And then they made it the PC version. They ported it over. And I bought it like as soon as I could on Steam. I was looking forward to this game so much, and it did not disappoint at all. It's great. Just the concept, like 2D stealth. I haven't played a 2D stealth game before, I don't think. Not before this game. Trying to think right now. Nope, can't think of one. I think what's most surprising about it is that the fact that it's 2D doesn't detract from the fact that it's just a solid stealth game, you know, from the get-go. It doesn't hold anything back. Like, the level design is great. You would think being 2D it would be really super linear, but it's not. There are actually, like, plenty of different ways to get around a certain objective, and, you know, there's all sorts of interesting secret areas to find. It's actually, like, intuitive in the way that you can find places to hide, you know, instantly things that you can interact with and things that you can't. It just adds overall to the flavor. I didn't find that the fact that it was 2D took anything away, and in fact, it gave it its own flavor. Like, this is Mark of the Ninja, it is 2D, and it is awesome. That was the guy presenting the flavor. And now I touched on this a little bit, but I gotta expand on it a little more. There's multiple ways to do things, and it's not just in the ways that you can, like, get around a guy. You know, you have different tools to use and different abilities, different costumes. And it's in true good stealth game fashion. That is the mark of a good stealth game, is if there's multiple ways to do something, I think. I mean, plenty of games say that they have stealth mechanics, and their stealth mechanic basically boils down to you bend at the knees and crawl by somebody, and maybe if you get spotted, all his telepathic buddies will see you. I hate that shit. It's called fake stealth. Alright, that's what I call it anyway. But this game has real good, solid stealth mechanics, and just the tools that you can bring. Before every game, you have to choose, or every level, you have to choose your loadout, and you have to kind of think carefully on what you want to bring with you. Do you want to bring the smoke bombs so that you can disable things, or maybe you could like blind a guard with it and run past him? There's so many, or maybe you can just kill everybody. There's no one way to play the game. Now that said, the game certainly does encourage you to go the actual stealth route of not killing anyone. There's a huge bonus at the end of the level, each level, for not killing anyone, and it's a little bit conflicted in the way that every upgrade that you get, not every upgrade, but most of the upgrades that you get involve killing people in certain spiffy ways, but you get this huge bonus for not killing people. You're encouraged to not kill people. But the cool thing is that it doesn't punish you if that's the way you want to play it. Unless you're a high score junkie, you can play it any way you want, and the game doesn't necessarily punish you for it. It's open to all kinds of playstyles. There's also a great New Game Plus mode. Once you beat it the first time you go through and you play it, we're with enemies who are a little bit more perceptive. They can see a little bit better. They can detect you better. You don't get any these bubbles flow out when sound is made. You don't get to see that anymore, so detecting people on the other side of walls is a little bit more difficult. Your vision range is a little more limited. It's a little more challenging, and I think that adds a lot more to the replayability. If you liked it going through it the first time, it's actually more fun going through it the second time. It's a little disappointed that kind of play style wasn't available from the beginning, like you weren't able to play with that on from the beginning. Maybe you were and I just didn't notice, but it definitely ups the replayability value. There are also costumes, different challenges you can do to get costumes. Now, the only ones that I found that were actually worthwhile were the dedicated stealth one, which you can't carry a weapon and kill anyone, but you get to carry like 2 distraction items. It makes sneaking around a lot easier, obviously. So if you unlock that one early, it makes getting non-lethal playthroughs a little bit more easier. And the other one was, I guess, called the Predator costume. Not that kind of Predator, but it makes stealth kills a lot easier to do. And that one's actually really fun to play with. You just run through and murder everyone. It's so adrenaline fueled and fun. And yeah, basically I love this game. It's got everything I love about a stealth game. And most of all, it makes you feel like a ninja. I mean, it sounds stupid to say, but that's what they set out to do, and they kind of accomplish it. Once you get into the flow of things and you're really moving, it gets really fun. And yeah, so Mark of the Ninja, number 4. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and if you're on Xbox and you didn't buy it in that initial rush, you missed out on a fantastic game. But there's still time to play it. Number 3, Hotline Miami. Now this is a game that just came out of nowhere. I heard about it somewhere, I saw some gameplay footage, and I thought, you know what, this looks kind of weird, and it's only $5. I think I'll check it out. And I'm glad I did, because that game is freaking awesome. Dude, it's so crazy, just the over-the-top violence, the graphic style, the way the storytelling, yeah, there's a story. The way the storytelling works, it just blew me away. Everything from the gameplay to the mechanics, it was just awesome. Where do I start? The gameplay, first and foremost. It's so fast. You die in one hit, but you can also kill people in one hit. So there's an actual strategy element to it. And you wouldn't think so looking at it, it's just a top-down, you go and you kill everyone game, but there's a lot of thought that has to go through, how am I going to take this guy down? Am I going to throw something at him? Am I going to shoot him? Am I going to hit him with his hammer? If I shoot him, his friends will come running, but if I run behind this wall, maybe they will not see me and they'll scatter, and then I can come out and shoot them. It's a lot of strategy to it. It's like a minor stealth element, hiding from people, not letting them see you before you go and kill them. Surprisingly complicated for such a simple looking game. And because the combat is so fast and everything is so lethal, when you finally get through a level or you get through a section that you're having trouble with, it feels really good. You feel genuinely accomplished for doing so. All the levels are pretty short too, so I mean, you never feel like you're repeating something over and over again and getting bored. And none of the deaths actually feel cheap. You know, if you go in and you die, you just try again because it's like 5 seconds, and it just flows so nicely. What really surprised me the most was the story of this game. I wasn't thinking of the story at all when I picked it up, but there's actually a little bit of a story to it, and it's kind of really good. Not just the story that it tells, but the way it tells it. It actually manages to tell you an interesting, trippy, like drug-fueled adventure, action thriller story without having to, shove a cutscene in your face every 5 minutes. Max Payne 3. Yeah, basically. But it does that in such a way that you're actually interested, and it never feels like the story's getting in the way of you having fun. Okay, well, it does a little bit. Sometimes there are cutscenes before an action or a level, and if you die, you have to go back and repeat that cutscene, and there's no way to skip them, but it never really infuriates you, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an incentive to do better, but that definitely was a little bit of a point for me, not being able to skip those. Well, I guess if you would, you wouldn't really have the reaction times to, deal with some of the stuff that comes after it, but overall, Hotline Miami was a really good action game with a surprisingly good story, and most of all, it's like super cheap. It's just an indie game that was made by one guy, and if you pick up no other little cheapo indie games this year, you got to pick up Hotline Miami, because I think everything about it just comes together and makes this really enjoyable, adrenaline-fueled game. I guess if you're not into that kind of Twitch kind of thing, you might not like it, but to me, Hotline Miami was my number 3 game, 2012. It's really, really solid in what it set out to do, and it nailed it. Number 2, Dishonored. Now maybe some of you out there might be saying, hey man, it's not fair to put a game that you haven't technically actually beaten yet in your top 5 of the year list. And to those people I would say, well, it's my list. And I'm putting it on here anyway. So yeah. Dishonored. I love this game. Like, just from when I saw some of the trailers, I knew it was going to be interesting, or something I was definitely going to look into. Like, when you see that walker in that one, I was like, what? This looks awesome! But yes, it turns out Dishonored is a very great stealth game. Yeah, spoiler if you haven't noticed already, I kind of like stealth games. It just hits every point that I like about them. I mean, the hub-based levels are laid out fantastically. There's lots to do. There's lots to explore. There's a ton of little secrets and Easter eggs to find. There's little conversations that you can eavesdrop in on. There's all the NPCs have a little thing that they do. Sometimes they talk to each other. And okay, there's just some canned lines that repeat, but what game doesn't do that? There's just all these the hub-based level. It reminds me of games like Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines, and I'm actually drawing a blank right now. I could cut this out, but I'm not going to. But, it's just that hub-based level design is big and open. It just suits the stealth gameplay so well. There's so much to do, and you have fun while you're doing it. And I think that's the most important part. That they added in all these abilities, like the spells, like Blink, is so fun to use. Just the way you can just zip around a level, and it adds a whole new level on top of that already fun aspect of stealth games that I like, of not being detected, to where you could just be like, I could just teleport past this guy. And it's so cool to do. And it's this added layer of the abilities that you get, like possession and seeing through walls and slowing time down and stopping time, that add that whole different layer of complexity onto the stealth game. Like, you could just stop time and escape. Of course it costs your mana resource and whatnots. But just the fact that those spells are so fun to use is definitely a selling point for me. It's definitely a plus. Something else that I really enjoyed was just the amount of effort that they put into fleshing out and giving personality to this world that you're in the whole time. Just all of the books of various stories and lore that are just scattered around everywhere for you to read, that you don't have to, but they're there. But that is so awesome to me, that I pick up a book and I read it, and I read about the struggle of this guy who's a whaler in this world, and I read his little story. There's tons of stuff like that out there about just random things, like the religion of these overseer guys that you're opposing because you follow the outsider. You have his mark. That's how you're able to do all these abilities. And just, you know, getting into their mindset and knowing why they do things the way they do and how magic is viewed in this world. And all that lore stuff is just so great. And of course, the heart. You get the heart, and it tells you all this background information on, like, everybody you use it on, every area that you go to. Like, I gotta do another playthrough. I'd play through and just use the heart every possible second that I can, because I love that stuff, basically. I love a good story. And that game has it in spades. It really does. And, of course, I've already touched on, you know, I like stealth games that let you take a variety of approaches to any given situation, and this game does that brilliantly. There's... everything is up to you. How you want to do it, how you want to get through the level, how you want to kill this person or take this guy out. It's all up to you. You can get through the entire game without killing anyone if you want to. It's definitely difficult and a challenge, but you can do it. And the fact that I love games that give you that option, that just say, here's all of the tools that you need, here's the level, go have fun. That's a good game to me. That every game that does that is just, I love it and I play it so much. And there needs to be more games like that. Dishonored definitely is a standout for me this year. Why it's number 2. It's so action-packed. The stealth is really solid and really fun. You know, it doesn't feel cheap. There's none of that fake stealth that I hate, like in Metro 2033. Just thinking off the top of my head, that game had terrible stealth mechanics. This game just nails it. Well, I do wish there were a lot more options for being non-lethal, because you get plenty of ways to kill dudes. But, you know, you only can, like, choke people out or hit them with sleep darts. Overall, just the game is phenomenal. I just loved it. I'm so enjoying my playthrough. It's so much fun, and I'm definitely going to play through it a second time. I can already tell. I don't do that a lot with games, especially lately, but this one I'm definitely going to make an exception for, because it's kind of amazing. Dishonored, number 2, 2012. Congratulations, random guy on YouTube, yada yada yada, and so forth and so on. And finally, the number 1 game, my number 1 game of 2012, The Walking Dead. Just the core concept of this game instantly is something that I just find awesome. It's a game about zombies, which you think like, oh, zombie games, we've got tons of those, but the zombies aren't even like the focus of it. You know, they're there, but the focus is on all of the character interaction. It's a story-driven game to its core. You know, that's exactly what you're going to get. It's essentially 10 hours, approximately, of dialogue choices and decision-making, and that's what they went all in on, the story-driven thing, and I think it worked out beautifully for them. And the zombie apocalypse setting is... We haven't really seen too many, like, personal, character-driven stories in zombie apocalypse. It's usually just, here's some zombies, because they look like people, here's 1,000 of them for you to mow down. And for a game to, like, go the different path of actually exploring the post-apocalyptic, like, nature, and get all philosophical and shit, that's what this game did, and it's amazing. Like, every single one of those characters you feel a little connection to. Like, you get interested in their stories, and you're thinking, like, oh my god, what is... I can't believe, like, this guy just did that, or I want this guy to, like, think good of me. I want to impress this character. And even though they're little characters in a game, you kind of, like, get attached to them, because the storytelling is just so well done. It's all supported by great voice acting and great pacing, and maybe there are a few moments that feel a little bit forced and a little bit cheese-tastic, like the hatchet from episode 4. But overall, everything about this game, just the story gets right down to your heart and, like, squeezes it and says, you will feel emotions. And I'm like, no, oh god, I'm feeling emotions, what is happening? And I think that's what it all boils down to, really, is this game makes you feel something. It's more than just moving pixels around on a screen and interacting with pixels. Every once in a while, a mindless shoot-'em-up game is kind of fun, but to me, I love games that pop off of the screen and they actually get you involved in what's going on. It's why I like horror games and stealth games so much, because you feel that tension. You're like, I want to make it past this obstacle, and you get involved in your character's struggle, and that happens to you in The Walking Dead a lot. You get really invested in the character of Lee, you get really invested in Clementine, and that's really the heart of it. From a storytelling standpoint, I think The Walking Dead blew everything else away this year. It told a very personal story in a way that was very exciting and very interesting, and every single episode just was better than the last. It just kept one-upping itself and one-upping itself, and delivered the best story of 2012. For me, number 1, Game of the Year, Walking Dead. Out of every game that I played this year, no other game besides The Walking Dead made me actually sit back and think, wow, this game is something else. It's definitely a standout this year. If you haven't played it, you have to. If you haven't seen my playthrough, I'm shamelessly whoring myself and saying you should play it, or you should watch it, but only after you play the game yourself, to avoid spoilers. Yeah, I've been trying to avoid spoilers putting in the gameplay footage, and that's why I'm kind of trying to keep this brief, and I should probably wrap it up now. So that's it, everybody. That's my top 5 games of 2012. That was just me rambling for like 30 freaking minutes. I really hope you enjoyed this video of just me pouring my random thoughts out all over the internet. And if you want to leave your comments below what you thought was a great game this year, what your top 5 or 10 or 11 if you're weird games were, go ahead and do that. Thank you for watching. Have a happy and safe new year and holiday season and everything sappy like that. And see you next year with hopefully even better games.